Good afternoon to everybody and welcome all of you to this technical webinar on detailed analysis of ESG, that is environmental, social and governance frameworks and standards. I am Vibhu Swain on behalf of IAEMP and Indian Association of Accredited Energy Auditors. I welcome you all. Today's faculty is Saraswati. He is an accredited energy auditor. He has completed his MBA in energy management and holds a bachelor degree in mechanical engineering from NIT Surat. And he is also a IGBC accredited professionals, chartered engineers, lead auditor in energy management system, certified energy manager by AE. And he has a lot of industrial experience, around 23 years of industrial experience. He has narrated the Indian national carbon market, carbon footprint in the last webinar, which we have conducted under the MSI banner. It was a very wonderful subject. We got almost 110 registered participants for that. And I hope he will be able to take care of all your queries and will elaborate the ESG for the benefit of all of us. Now over to you, Prabhatji, for your PPT and presentations.
Thank you, Vibhuji, for introducing myself and Mission Sustainable India. So I think I'm not the expert of ESG, but what I have learned and just try to gather all the information which I feel it is very important to share with you people. So if any questions, I will be happy to answer. But I'm not the expert, as I have said, but try to make it simplified, this ESG framework, because we have heard in many, you can say, terminologies about this ESG. So I have segregated in 4 sections. So I think first section I will take a few minutes, couple of minutes, 2 minutes, introduce my company and what we are, you can say, giving services under the sustainability practice. And then we will try to understand the ESG and what are the sustainability KPIs under the different ESG frameworks. And also I will try to explain what are the most recognized international ESG standards companies are following. And finally, India also has their own ESG reporting framework notified by SEBI. That is called BRSR. Also, we will discuss in detail what are the principles, what are the guidelines, and what are the KPIs under the BRSR, and to whom it is mandatory. So BAC, having 30 years experience in international consulting. So we have office in Munich, Germany, but I am from Mumbai office, and I am representing sustainability practice. So I will not take much time. And these are the services which we are rendering to our customers related to sustainability. And already I think Mr. Behu has introduced me, so I will skip this. And this is my small experience in industry related to the energy management and energy efficiency. And also I have worked for some decarbonization of some industries. I have prepared roadmap for aluminum sector. It is in, I think, company in EGA, Emirat Global Aluminium, which I was the member of that team, which prepared the roadmap for decarbonization of aluminum industry. So before moving ahead, just I'm trying to, I think already I have shared these pictures, so just setting the context that why we are discussing about these topics. So everybody is aware about this all global warming and climate change. So our glaciers are sinking. So this is the photograph picture of Gangotri glaciers. And now I think this is the picture from 2005 flood in Mumbai. So just I am trying to correlate these all incidents related to the global warming and climate change. And everybody is aware about the clouds burst in Uttarakhand in 2013. So we have seen such type of, you can say, damage or due to this global warming. and flooding in Chennai 2015. And now, why we are, you can say, planning for sustainability. So why it is so important, not for across the globe, but for India. So you know that we are a developing country and our economy is growing, but at what cost? Ultimately, energy is required for any development for any country. So industry is contributing around 30% of the GHG emissions in India. And we know that we have the most polluted cities in India, across the Asian countries. Out of 15, 12 cities are from India. And you know that we are the third largest GHG emissions also globally. So pollution impact on society and economy, we know that it is effect on the health. So 480 million inhabitants in North India affected by most extreme levels of air pollution, 1.6 million deaths due to the air pollution, and bigger the impact on the economy also. So sustainable development, just I'm trying to start this topic from the sustainable development goal. We know and that we have 17 SDGs. I think a decade back, I think 2014-15, the 17 sustainable development goal was prepared by United Nations. So each goal, you can say, it is covering almost every aspect of the human life. If these goals are achieved within the stipulated time, it is sure that the life of poor throughout the world will be easier. So goal 1, you know that there is no poverty. Goal 1, SDG 1, no poverty. So by 2030, eradicate extreme poverty for all. These are the objectives or basically brief discussion of each goal. So zero hunger, so good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy. This is the center of, you can say, for sustainable the clean energy transition, goal 7, and decent work and economic growth, and industry. I will hide it. Yeah. Industry innovation and infrastructure, SDG 9, and reduce inequality, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace and justice, strong institution, partnership to achieve the goals. So these are the brief descriptions of the 17 goals. And I think everything we are talking about ESG or other climate change, global warming, this goes to the basically to achieve these 17 goals. The ultimate objective to achieve these goals through the various, you can say, activity. So now understanding the alphabet soup of the ESG reporting. So we have heard ESG standards, ESG framework. So I have categorized in 4 categories to understand the whole ESG system. So fundamentally, there are 4 main categories in this alphabet. So first, the standards, then frameworks and ratings and indices. So ESG, what is the ESG standards? Standards that govern the metrics and provide specific rules of ESG measurement and disclosures. For example, GRI, Global Reporting Initiatives, and the SASB, Sustainability Accounting Standard Board. So these are the standards, you can say, out of many standards. And ESG framework. ESG framework is basically the guidelines that how the information should be disclosed. For example, CDSP, Carbon Disclosure Standard Board, International Integrated Reporting Council, Carbon Disclosure Project, CDP, and the TCFD, Task Force on Climate-Related Financial Disclosures. So these are the various frameworks are available across the globe. Now the ratings, how the rating is done for ESG, that which company is more sustainable, how it can be compared, that what are the sustainability, you can say, score they are getting. So there are some rating agencies are there. So rating includes basically agencies that collate information through surveys and other methodologies together. They have different methodology, they add their own system. So ESG data from different organizations, for example, Sustainalytics and MSCI, these are the rating agencies, and ESG indexes. So these are the compiled data into a single matrix to represent a particular market or strategy. For example, the Dow Jones Sustainability Index, and FTS for Good, and Bloomberg. These are the agencies. So ESG metrics are used to basically assess companies' exposure to a range of environmental, social, and governance risks. These metrics can be used for a range of ESG integration approaches, such as benchmarking or scenario analysis, and ESG disclosures. It refers to the disclosures of data relating to an organization's environmental, social, and governance performance. So many companies are disclosing their, you can say, ESG targets and commitments under these three pillars. So, so now reporting, and you can say what are the expectation from the stakeholders. So just I have tried to make it easier that why it is required, to whom the report should be done, where this information will be disclosed, and what and how. So why report this ESG information? Why we should report ESG information? So response to the compliance requirement. So there are the many compliances are there. The company need to disclose their ESG information or ESG disclosures. Progress against company's strategic commitments and aims. Communication with the stakeholders, NGOs, and social expectations align with the peer practices. Respond to the international community like SDG. So if you want to address any SDG, you can say activity which company is doing. So that to respond to those SDGs also, ESG information is required, and participation in rating or ranking or indexes. So if the company want to get some ratings on the ESG score on the sustainability aspects, then subsidiaries, collaboration, partners, and value chain. So these are the some, you can say, why we should report ESG information. To whom ESG should be, you can say, reported. So I think it may be for investors, suppliers, for targeting customers, employees, regulators, NGOs, and competitors and media. So where we should report this ESG informations. So basically, we can incorporate these information or disclosure in the mainstream compliance reports, or you can say the annual reports, and we can prepare an integrated report and sustainability report. These all disclosures need to be disclosed over there, and especially voluntary disclosures, investors, analysts, and presentations and media releases. So what information to be reported basically? So ESG related risks. So these are the information we need to, you can say, disclose. And what are the opportunities basically? So the risk and opportunity both need to be disclosed. Management actions, schemes, and projects to, you can say, preserve value, governance, strategic goals, targets, and performance. So how information to be prepared and presented? So we need to adapt a framework or reporting principles. We have various reporting guidelines and frameworks to disclose ESG informations, like GRI, the most recognized frameworks and standards under the ESG or sustainability. IIRC, International Integrated Reporting Council, SASB, Sustainability Accounting Standard Board, CDP, Carbon Disclosure Projects, CTSB, UNGC, United Nations Global Compact, TCFD, and the UN SDG also, and BRSR. This is the Indian guidelines or framework for reporting sustainability by the companies who are listed. I think 1,000 listed company has been notified for issuing the sustainability report and by the SAB. So these are some basics about the ESG and why, you can say, the expectations are changing. So environmental sustainability and the governance and social issues, these are the issues which have been recognized by the company. And now it is because we are moving from profit to the purpose. So materiality assessment and mapping. So first we need to understand what is material for the company. Any environmental issue, because for any company, all the issues may not be so relevant. So we need to understand what is material for that. So the mapping should be done accordingly, and the ESG vision should be clear for the company, and now then establish ESG strategy and roadmap, and clear ownership should be there, and refining our operation and other processes to improve ESG scores, improvements over time, then ESG report review, and finally, then it goes to the disclosures. So these are the basic steps. Uh, yeah. So now we will discuss about what is ESG for each pillar of the ESG. Basically, sustainability. What is ESG? ESG basically it's a sustainability related disclosures and the key to ensure inclusive and sustainable financial growth. It helps industries and corporates to achieve UN SDG and attract financial investors. Basically, we know that we have, you can say ESG funding is also there. So every investors or financial institution are looking for their ESG performance related to sustainability. So they are the three basically pillar of ESG. So environmental, social, and governance. So environmental pillar is very most important and you can say critical aspects for any company. Uh, so in environmental, we are, you can say, assessing the climate. We are making our climate change strategy, biodiversity, water efficiency, carbon intensity, and environmental management system. In social, we are looking for equal opportunities, freedom of association, health and safety, human rights, customer and products responsibility, like extended product responsibility, EPR, child labor, and governance. So the businesses we are talking about ethical business and the compliance, whether we are meeting our compliances, the board independency, executive compensations, and shareholder democracy. So these are the key parameters are, you can say, look under the governance. So environmental factors basically assess the risk of a company and its suppliers or partners from climate events and its impact on the physical environment. And social factors basically assess a company's relative social impact and associated risk and societal actions, including from the direct and indirect employees, customers, and communities in which it operates. And governance factors basically assess the timing and quality of decision making, governance structure, and distribution of rights and responsibility across different stakeholders groups in services of positive social impact and risk mitigation. So these are the key things. So basically, what comes under these pillars, each pillar. So as I already said, environmental pillar is very important in view of extreme weather conditions. We know about global warming and climate change related to GHG emissions. So this pillar is very, very important to focus on. In recent years, due to global warming and climate change, we know. So emissions such as greenhouse gases and air, water, and ground pollution emissions. So these cover environmental pillar cover these aspects. Resources such as recycled materials or in production, how much we are recycling the materials and how much it is going for the landfill. So these all our aspects are covered under environmental pillar. Similarly, companies are expected to be good stewards of water resources, land, and concerns like deforestation and biodiversity disclosures are there. Companies also report on positive sustainability impacts they might have, which may translate into long-term business advantage. And from a reporting perspective, this is the most complex pillar basically. And social pillar focus on employee well-being and community welfare, including corporate social responsibility. So under this pillar, companies report on how they manage their employee development and labor practices. They report on product liabilities regarding the safety and quality of their products. They also report on their supply chain labor and health and safety standards and controversial sourcing issue. And governance, the main issue reported under the governance pillar are stakeholder rights, board diversity, how executives are compensated. So these are the already I have discussed in the earlier slides, so I will not take much time. These are some repetition of content. So now we need to understand what is the materiality and what matter for the company under the ESG. So basically, to identify a specific challenges and opportunity, to determine materiality based on particular ESG issue, to improve ESG score, to maintain brand and reputation in fast business changing scenario for sustainability. So, say example, like all sectors of the economy not face the same ESG issue. For example, in the case of banks, so greenhouse gas emission is not an issue because they are not consuming directly any energy, or you can say which are responsible for GHG emissions. So for bank, GHG emission is not a material. So so that is why, so these differences in what matters to a particular sector from an ESG perspective is called materiality. So, like companies report on issues that are material to them. Basically, companies are focused to issues, you can say, report those issues which are basically or really matter for them, or they are, you can say, responsible for those, you can say, aspects. So, typically, materiality is determined based on what ESG issue is considered financially material in each industry. So financially material issues are those that can impact a company's financial performance. For example, unexpected surplus cost, fines, loss of brand value, loss of revenue due to the consumer, because consumer nowadays choosing more sustainable alternative or sustainable products. So now the double materiality concept is also coming. So double materiality is being recognized as an important concept in choosing what is considered material by a company. So as you know, with matter is financially, you can say financial impact is there, then obviously that matter is very important for the company. So double materiality means alongside the financially material issues, socially material issues are also treated as material. So now the companies are focusing on like social aspects also. That is by it is not just that it is affecting the financial aspects of the company. So now double material concept is coming nowadays. So ESG evolution and scorings. So what are the key factors for evolution of ESG for any company? So is an evolution of an organization performance against the various sustainability metrics. So I have segregated like environmental, social, and governance. Like 12 factors are there. They are basically assessed and evaluate based on those factors. What are the environmental performance, and the social 12 factors, and governance. So as you know, already we have discussed about the environmental key aspects like greenhouse gas emission, energy consumption or energy intensity, and the various chemicals, hazardous chemicals emissions, how much waste we are generating, and which type of packaging and logistic we are using, supply chain transparency, buildings, biodiversity, water, sustainability, sustainable sourcing, product stewardship or the life cycle assessment. So these are the factors which are, you can say, used for assessing or the scoring the you can say ESG performance. So yeah. So what is the ESG rating agency? So there are I think more than 10, but I have collected information of about 10 ESG rating agencies. So are organizations that examine a company's environmental, social, and corporate governance policies to determine its sustainability. So basically, these are the D&B and Sustainalytics and ESG risk ratings, MSCI, Morgan Stanley Capital International ESG rating system. They have their own Bloomberg, FTSE, and DJSI, Moody's, CDP, S&P, Standards and Poor's Global ESG scores ratings is there, and institutional shareholder service rating and ranking systems. So these are the various rating agency are engaged to, you can say, give the rating to the industry based on the ESG performance. So checklist, I think for each and each pillar, we can make a checklist for our making our KPIs. Strategic goals and KPIs we can define for each pillar. So for environmental, to reduce gas emissions or GHG emissions, we can make a KPI for them. To improve the use of renewables, to reduce natural resources consumptions, to reduce waste, and to improve the efforts to address greenness. So these are the, you can say, KPIs which can be fixed by a company. It depends on the company to company and the type of operation and activities have in the business. So it depends on that. So like in social pillar also, we can make some of our KPIs, employees accepting of organization changes to guarantee the quality of environment and work conditions, to guarantee the respect of the human rights, to participate at the social initiatives, and to maintain a high level of responsibility. So these are the KPIs we can fix under the social pillar of ESG. And in the same fashion, we can make our own KPIs based on our business governance. So to increase the return of investment, to increase the revenue associated with sustainability dimensions, to enhance technology process, to guarantee quality of the past. So these are some governance KPIs can be fixed by the company. So what are the how these measurements are done based on this KPI? So different methodologies, or you can say the measurements procedures are there for different frameworks. So just I have mentioned a few. So like for environmental, to improve the use of renewable sources, to reduce superfluous resource consumption, to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, environment safeguards. So these are some KPIs and how it can be measured. So some you can say measurement can be done like per ton or per unit or per employee, like GHG emission for CO2 per ton of product. So percentage of waste generated per ton of product. Like that, we can measure these KPIs. So in the same fashion, social governance, all the three pillars, we can make some measurement to evaluate the performance. So finally, some questions also can be asked as a survey by the company who are validating our this ESG commitments or our ESG reporting, like science-based target initiative, like under GRI, under SASB. So these all frameworks and guidelines are available, and they are asking some questions also related to the each ESG pillars. So like environmental goal achievements questions can be asked by the investors, like what is the company's policy on environmental responsibility, what is the company's track record on waste management and reduction, how does the company rate in terms of GHG emissions, what are the company's water usage practice, does the company have any sustainable sourcing policies in place, how does the company treat you can say endangered species, what kind of packaging does the company use, like in social goals. Some questions can be asked: what is the company's policy on human rights, what is the company's track record on labor and employment standards, what is the company rate in terms of health and safety, what are the company's social media policies. So these are some questions are being asked during the survey by the different standards. So like the governance goal achievements, the same few questions can be asked. This is just for reference for your sharing purpose. You can go through it once we will share. So by doing the, I think for now, if somebody want to improve sustainability or want to make more score, high score in the ESG, so there is a race for net zero, because it is under the environmental aspect. Everybody is, you can say, focusing, or you can say focusing on the net zero targets or decarbonize their businesses. So there are some countries which I have mentioned their targets, and already they have, you can say, the peak of their carbon emission at the national level, and they have started reducing or declining GHG emissions as a whole. So I think we are expecting that our carbon emission peak will be there by 2040, in between 2040 45, and we have already targeted that we will achieve the net zero by 2070. So, and accordingly, based on the science-based, you can say the calculations that we have a certain budget for from now. So, how much we can emit maximum GHG emissions? Like we have a budget of around 380 gigaton of GHG emission. If we want to reduce the temperature rise below 1.5 degrees centigrade. So it is 50% likelihood. So these are some 380, 730, so maximum 1230. But the temperature rise will go beyond 2 degrees centigrade in such scenario. So these are some carbon budget. We have to, you can say, play within that budget like our family budget. So we have to spend accordingly, wisely, and judiciously. So now this is the basic. So now ESG reporting backgrounds. So how does a company report ESG? So several national and international reporting standards are available to report ESG for a company, but no ISO certified reporting system is available as of now. So everybody, you can say, many NGOs, non-profit organizations are preparing their guidelines, principles, and depending on that, the suitability, companies are following those standards depending on the market demand or investors' requirements. So, but as of now, there is no standard or ISO certified rating reporting system is available. So, ESG is broadly through thought of as a reporting framework. However, originally it was framework developed for evaluating the sustainability. So, related disclosures of listed companies for investors. Now, with demand for ESG related information on the rise, the ESG framework has become synonymous with reporting. So now, ultimately, it was a framework to evaluate the sustainability of a company, but now we are talking about ESG directly as a reporting ESG framework. So there is no standard of ESG framework already. I have shared with you. So reporting is typically done by applying one or more frameworks. And the two most used reporting frameworks are the Global Reporting Initiatives and the Sustainable Accounting Standard Boards, as SASB, that is called SASB in short form. So ESG reporting is typically done by publishing a sustainability report. Although more and more companies are disclosing data through web pages that showcase the company's ESG performance in addition to a more standard report. So you can see, or we can see in a company portal that there is a separate sustainability system is there, and you can say download the sustainability report and we can go through it. So yeah. So this is the background of ESG reporting system, that how we started to report sustainability through the ESG framework or through the ESG disclosures. So I will not go in details. So we have already discussed in many guidelines. So yes, so these are the various frameworks or standards, you can say. So some of the most adopted or reported standards which focused on a broader sustainability or GSG or financial disclosures or stakeholders or combination of such disclosures. So BRSR, this is the Indian framework or guidelines for reporting sustainability by top 1,000 listed company. It is mandated for financial year 2023 this year. So already many companies have reported their sustainability in the form of BRSR. So ISSB, CDP, these are the various, you can say, standards or frameworks for reporting ESG. So now just I have simplified these all various frameworks and standards. Recently we have established a international sustainability standard board, which will be, you can say, oversee this all type of unify the sustainability standards. So that is by this ISSB has been established, and it is influenced by TCFD. That is the main, you can say, the standards of framework, and the complement by GRI. So and IFRS also supporting this ISSB. So now this will be the central focus for you can say unifying the sustainability reporting frameworks. Yes. So I think I have selected two standards for discussing in details. So GRI is an international independent standards organizations that help companies, governments, and other organizations to understand and communicate ESG related topics. So the GRI headquartered in Netherlands. It was established, founded in 1997. And I think there are the two different approaches are there in each standards. So one approach may be like company impacts on the climate change, and second approach may be the climate change impact on companies. So the different standards are using different approaches. So GRI approaches the company impact on the climate change. Sustainability reports of most of the 500 Fortune companies use GRI standards. It is a free product, so there is no you can say cost for that. So GRI is an NGO with 100 staff globally and one in India. One of GRI mission is to support the United Nations. Even all the GRI or SASB support the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So GRI has three sections basically. So for each company, so reporting standards are grouped into three categories, like universal, sector specific, and topic specific. So universal are basically standards that apply to all reporting companies, and they include general disclosures on organizational details, the entities included in the reporting, the reporting period, frequency, like such general information are there. Sector specific, like for the steel sector, for power, for different sectors, it can be used. So there are the four sectors for which GRI has developed already standards to support material disclosures. These includes basic material and needs, industrial, transportation, infrastructure and tourism, and other services and light standards. So topic specific also, we have different sections under GRI. So GRI standards basically we can group like for universal approach, for sectors approach, and the topic approach. So different you can say these principles are there. GRI 1, 2, 3 we can apply for the universal approach, and for sector specific like GRI 1, 1, 2, 1, 3. These are some different principles. Just I have mentioned here for reference only. But it is available. GRI guidelines are available. We can go through and understand each and every principles of GRI for sector specific or universal or topic specific. So SASB, this is the another you can say largest used, mostly used, second mostly used standards for ESG disclosures. Yeah. So so now once again I'm discussing about the net zero or science-based net zero targets. So net zero is a goal that aims to cut GHG emissions close to zero, with any remaining emissions removed from the atmosphere through mitigation methods like carbon capture or carbon offset. So basically, whatever the potential to reduce GHG emissions, first we need to reduce those emissions, then we can go for the carbon offset, and also finally still some hard to abate emissions are there, process emissions are there, then we can go for the carbon capture and store. So these are the three you can say approach of to achieve the net zero under the SBTi. So SBTi recommends basically over 90% of decarbonization should occur within business and personal activities. SBTi also states that the offsetting does not replace the need to. It is not like that. Okay, we can go for you can say purchasing the carbon credits, or we can offset by putting some renewable source of power like that. So these are some this SBTi pathways to net zero guidance that no pathway currently used. The SBTi includes CO2 removal with geologic storage in the pathway boundary. So whatever the under the SBTi targets has been you can say given by the company. So as of now there is no you can say company which has selected geological storage of CO2 capture. So the source of GHG emissions in manufacturing facilities, or you can say whatever the emissions are there, we can group in scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3. So these are the different activities like downstream and upstream, and the reporting company which has the manufacturing facility. So the direct emission which is called like scope 1, we are using any fuel, any you can say for transport fuel, for any boiler, or we are generating steam. So like that, the ownership or which are emitted directly through the company, that comes under the scope 1. Then scope 2, say if we are purchasing electricity from the grid, or we are purchasing steam from some other company, so the related CO2 emission or GHG emission will be considering under scope 3. scope 2, sorry. And the indirect emission also comes under the scope 3, which are, you can say, related to the upstream activities and the downstream activities of the company. So these are the some factors. We can follow the GHG. Even we can calculate our GHG emissions of the company by using GHG protocol or some multiplication factors for different type of fuel or energy usage. So these are some just reference I have mentioned here. And these are the category. I think you know that scope 3 is the most complex system for calculating the GHG emissions. So there are some 15 categories are there, which has been, you can say, categorized into two indirect GHG emissions, like upstream scope 3 emissions. Around 8 categories are there, and downstream 7 categories are there. So these are the you can say the definitions to understand what comes under these categories to calculate the GHG emissions, like upstream scope 3 emissions, like for purchase, if we are purchasing goods for our, you can say, further production, capital goods. So these are some categories, and these are some definitions I have mentioned. So I will not go in detail for each definition. You can go through the presentation when it will be shared. And so these are the basically the calculation method, because you know that scope 3 is the most critical, you can say, calculation method for estimating GHG emission or carbon footprint. So there are some methods how it will be calculated, because maybe possible we do not have the direct data. So which type of activity data is required to calculate scope 3 emissions? So just I have mentioned what are the method we can, like, say example for purchase goods and services, we can apply the method like how much we have spent on that particular product. So based on that amount spent on purchase goods or services by product, so based on that how much amount we have, you can say, spent on that. Based on that we have certain GHG emissions multiplication factor per rupee or per dollar, or based on the GDP. So that data is available. So these are some calculation methods for under scope 3 activities, even downstream and upstream both activities. So these are the data we need to collect for calculations. So I will just going through these slides, not discussing in detail. So already we have discussed that what is the difference between the carbon neutral and net zero. So in the net zero scenario, we need to consider the scope 3 also. So we need to, you can say, whatever the remaining emissions are there after improving energy efficiency by using renewable energy, by putting some technology transitions, technology advancements for the production. So carbon neutral, there is no need to focus on the scope 3. So we may be carbon neutral, or we can go for the net zero targets also. Yeah. So now the India already we have discussed the various frameworks and standards industrially available. But you know that we have our own NDCs, and we have our own commitment at national level. And you may be aware about all this Paris Agreement. So these are the latest NDC update by Government of India, and that we will be reducing our carbon intensity of GDP by 40%, 45% by 2030 from the 2005 level. So these are some commitments by Government of India. Yeah. So what are the ESG regulations over there or are there in India now? Not directly related, but you can say these are some, you can say, pushing, or you can say pushing the companies to be a sustainable, you can say, to become sustainable. So like in governance, the implementation of quota committees, it was there, and Companies Act we have, and IBC already, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code we have, and we have adopted the Indian accounting standards. So like our clause 49 in equity listing agreement, corporate governance voluntary guidelines, And the reporting guidelines, regulations we have, like disclosure of cash flow statement, clause 32, and compliance with, you can say, takeover code, corporate governance report. So these are some already regulations we have in India for companies. So like for social, we have CSR Act, so Protection of Human Rights Act 1993, Factory Act, and Rehabilitation and Resettlement Act 2013, Forest Right Acts. So these are some social related to social aspects. We have already some act and regulations in place. And for environment, we are, you can say, like we have FAME 2 scheme for EV, and exemption for road permit for AV and CNG vehicle, renewable energy subsidies, national NGT we have. So these are some rules and regulations already available in India. So, but so how ESG reporting in India has evolved. So, I think earlier it was there, but not mandatory. It was on voluntary basis. So, in 2009, there was a, you can say, national voluntary guidelines was there, issued by the MCA. And then 2012, the BRR reporting was there in place of BRSR. So SEBI mandated that the top 100 listed companies only by market capitalization. So they were filing BRR as a sustainability report. CSR, then in 2015, it was extended to 500 listed companies. And 2017, that integrated report was introduced by SEBI. And then NGRBC National Guidelines on Responsible Business Conduct. So it was released in 2019, and it has been extended to the top 1,000 listed company already. I have shared, and this BRSR is now mandatory from the financial year 2020 to 23. So now this BRSR is in place at present for reporting sustainability aspects. So BRSR, so just to understand what are the principles we have to report, to prepare the BRSR report. So in the latest reporting format in India, mandated from financial year 2020-23, it has been segregated in 3 sections basically, and 9 principles with, you can say, essential and leadership indicators. So section A is basically related to very general aspects and general disclosures, you can say. And it has second section is management and process disclosures. And section C includes the principle wise, because we have 9 principles to capture all the aspects of company related to the ESG. So we have 9 principles and some so indicators are also there, some mandatory, which is required to disclose by the company. That is called essential indicators, and some leadership indicators they can disclose voluntary on voluntary basis, depending on the information or on the data if they have. So these are the, you can say, structure of BRSR report. And so essential and leadership indicators basically defines the mandatory requirement for ESG reporting and value addition to improve ESG score, to keep ahead from the competition and more exposure to the market and attract financial investors. So we can go for the leadership indicators also. Like we can disclose the life cycle assessment of our products. Say example, one company is making EV two-wheeler, or one is making some IC engine based two-wheeler. So based on that 2 products, we can disclose this is our, you can say, carbon footprint or the life cycle assessment of the product. So that is voluntary now, on voluntary basis, not mandatory. Yeah. So these are the 9 principles which are there in BRSR report. So we need to report all our ESG related aspects under each principles, like business should conduct and govern themselves with integrity and in a manner that is ethical, transparent, and accountable. So these are the 9 principles are there in BRSR report as per the national guidelines. So these we can you can say correlate under this ESG 3 pillars. of each activities, or you can say the activities are covered under the principles. So that can be captured under the 3 pillars. And the you can say the also the all 9 principles we have tried to, you can say, link with the SDGs, that how much impact of each principles which is there in our sustainability reporting in India, which would affect the with this which SDG is affected, or you can say the it can improve the you can say our sustainable development goals. So principle 1, it is related to the SDGs 16 and 17. So I think the maximum, the principle 8 has the maximum impact on the 13 SDGs, basically, if you see here. So these had the SDG 1, no poverty, zero hunger. So these are the 13 goals it affects, the principle 8. So it is very important aspect under the sustainability reporting, the principle 8. So ISO certification to enhance sustainability of because these are very important, because once we have a system in place, so ultimately it helps to industry to make more sustainable, or you can say to disclose their sustainability aspects. So ISO 14001, if we have the certification, like it is for environmental management systems, and ISO 45. Sorry. ISO 45001, Health and Safety Management System, Guidance on Social Responsibility, ISO 20400, the Sustainable Procurement Management System, Energy Management System 50,001. These are some ISO certifications which can any company go for certification and improve their ESG score. So ISO certification or ISO 37 anti-bribery or management system is there, 27001 ISMS, Information Security Management System, and GHG and Climate Change Material Management System also, it is available, ISO 14064. And for carbon footprint or for product life cycle assessment, 14067. So these are the various for water efficiency or water management. So these are the various ISO standards which help a company to, you can say, become more sustainable or score high in the ESG aspects. So and some also nowadays, because it is a very lengthy process, and the you can say laborious work to, you can say, collect all data related to the environment, social and governance. So I think various software companies are there which are providing such type of, you can say, platform, or so which can capture all. We can prepare the dashboard for our stakeholders. So many software providing companies are there. Just I have captured few just for your reference, that which companies are there, like even IBM and the Microsoft is also there. So these are the various companies who are dealing into the softwares, and which is very helpful to companies to capture all those data, and to, you can say, to disclose their KPIs and to monitor the KPIs, to, you can say, identify the gaps where they are lacking, what target they have fixed. So it is very useful, you can say, to use such type of softwares. So these are some softwares I have mentioned. 17, 18 I have captured from the public domain only, just for sharing purpose. So like SAP also, they have their own sustainability management tools. So various companies are coming in this sector for making a report easy. Yeah. So thank you very much. I have completed my presentation.